Hi everyone, it is Felicia from Sweet Georgia and welcome back to the Sweet Georgia YouTube channel. Now it feels like it's been a little while since we sat down to make a video and just chat and catch up with all of the things that have been going on. And there's actually a really good reason for that. It's just for the past few months, I have just had my head down working really intensely to finish up all of the lessons and the filming for the brand new first ever circular sock machine course for the School of Sweet Georgia. Now, it was a massive project just simply because we filmed it. I filmed it together with Greta, and I also filmed it together with Kathy, who is typically our video editor. And then I came in and I filmed multiple days of just B-roll of myself, just cranking at the machine and things like that, just to get extra footage. I knit these socks multiple times. We tested a number of different techniques and everything like that, and just tried to capture all of that in the course that is coming up. So it was a massive project. And typically for the School of Sweet Georgia, what we do is Kathy will edit many of the videos. She'll edit all of the courses, basically, all the course videos for the school. But for this particular course, I edited all of the video myself in order to make sure that I was getting across exactly what I needed to communicate. So I'm hoping that it turned out well, and it's going to come out at the beginning of October for October. So really, really excited about that. Excited that it's finally done and that I can share it with you all very, very soon. But now that that's finished, I feel like this is the start of a new season. It's the start of a new year. It's September. September is the back to school. Kids are back to school. Everything starts over, and we're at the beginning of this new fall season, this new autumn season. It's going to be winter in a couple months, and it's just like everything about Vancouver all of a sudden has gotten a little bit crisper. It's going to start raining this weekend. And I'm just feeling like I'm ready to sit down and cozy up with all of my knitting projects, all of my yarn, all of my socks, and I'm just ready to get my hands on all the yarn and make all the things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about this sweater right here. So this is the yoke of my falling leaves sweater. This is a sweater that is designed by Andrea Rangel for the School of Sweet Georgia. She actually taught an entire course on this particular sweater, and we ran a make along. It was a stranded sweater knit along starting in August and ending at the end of September. Now, there was the choice of this particular pattern, the falling leaves pattern, or the Oh Dearie Me pattern, which was also a stranded colorwork pattern that was designed by Caitlin Shepherd, also for the School of Sweet Georgia. So there's two different stranded colorwork sweaters that people could choose from. I chose this one because this has been sort of on my list for actually some time now, but I made it in a very different way from how it was written in the original pattern. So so for the falling leaves sweater, the pattern was actually designed to be knit from the bottom up. So the idea is that you would cast on with tubular cast on at the bottom, and Andrea gives an awesome tutorial on how to do tubular cast on. So it's tubular cast on, one by one ribbing, and then you knit the body in a tube, circular. You knit it on circular needles to knit a tube, and then you separate it out, and then you also knit sleeves separately, and then you attach everything together at the base of the yoke, and then you finish by knitting the colorwork yoke all together, and then knit up to the top, and then do your sort of neckline, and then you're done. I chose to knit it sort of from the middle out, I guess is how it's working. It's from the middle out. So the idea is that this is my yoke here. And what I did is I cast on with a provisional cast on. This pink is all provisional cast on. It's a crochet chain. And then I picked up all the stitches that I need for the yoke stitches. And then I knit the yoke as I would for the pattern, knit from the bottom up. And I will finish the neckline. So I'm going to finish the neck by hand knitting it. But then once I finish the neck, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up all of these stitches that are still live stitches on my provisional cast on, and then I'm going to hang this on my knitting machine and then knit downwards. So I can't knit a tube on my flatbed knitting machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide up the total number of stitches of my yoke, and some stitches will go to sleeves, some stitches will be front, some stitches will be back, and I'll probably add one stitch on each side of each of those pieces. So front, I'll add one extra stitch on each side, back, I'll add one extra stitch on each side, and same for the sleeves, so that I can sew those pieces together at the end when it's all done. And so that will be my sweater. Now, Knit City is like next week. So I don't know if this is going, I think that would be pretty crazy if I was going to try to finish it by then. Uh, well, we'll see. But I loved knitting the colorwork section of this sweater. I actually love how these colors ended up working together. This color is mink. This is my background. I think originally I chose this color for a different sweater project and then ended up using it for this. And this one, I believe, is brass. No, putting those two together, you think that there would be a lot of high contrast. There's a lot of contrast between these two colors, but it's looking a little bit sort of low contrast here in the yolk, but I still love it because it's got a little bit of that kind of rusty autumn leaves kind of color going on here. I love it. So now the yarn that I'm using here is one of our tried and true favorites. This is one of our most popular best-selling yarns, and the yarn is what we used to call Superwash DK, and we've recently made the decision to rename it Merino DK. So you might see that name change in and around our website. And so if anything that you thought was Superwash DK before is now going to be called Merino DK. And we really just wanted to name the yarn to emphasize the heart of the yarn, which is the merino wool itself. We wanted to celebrate all of the wonderful things that come with merino, sort of all of that softness, that squishiness, and the warmth that it provides. So this yarn has been perfect for the sweater so far. It's going to hold up very well. It's going to have a lot of stitch definition, and it just feels amazing, like really squishy and amazing. Now, one of the things that I noticed as I was getting to the end of knitting this yoke is that some of the floats ended up being a little bit long at the end of the day. Some of the floats were 6, it looks like one of them was going to be 8 stitches wide, one of them was going to be 6 stitches wide. And so the question is, how long should a float be? How long can it be? And I guess the idea is that if the float is long enough to snag your nail or your finger in it, I feel like that's a little bit too long. And so what I did on the last round is actually I tacked down the float. So I basically catch the float and tack it down against the rest of the fabric so that it doesn't create this big long float. Um, and so we do teach a lot of that inside the School of Sweet Georgia. It's basically how to tack down floats, how to hold your yarn for stranded knitting, how to carry your yarn in 2 hands, how to carry your yarn in 1 hand, lots of different ways of working with your yarn. I am just loving this combination right now, and I'm kind of sad that the yoke is all done now, but I have this cute little stitch marker that we picked up at H&H Cologne, oh no, H&H Chicago a couple months ago, and it says, "A cup of tea solves everything." Maybe not everything, but feels pretty good. Now, this project is an example of something that we're going to be talking more about this season and upcoming. Basically, the idea of being multi-craftual. Now, for me, being multi-craftual is using all the tools and skills in your toolbox to create something you love. And so this sweater embodies that idea for me completely. So first, it starts with hand-dyed yarn. And so we love dyeing yarn. Obviously, at our studio, we have been dyeing yarn for 20 years now. And we have a whole team of people who are amazing at dyeing yarn. And we also teach how to dye your own yarn on the School of Sweet Georgia. So the next step in this multi-craftual project is hand knitting the stranded colorwork yoke. And I really wanted to savor this process. So it has taken probably about 6 weeks for me to knit this entire yoke by hand. And I just work on it, maybe 3 or 4 rounds each evening. And I'm just taking it really slow because I do enjoy it. And it's been okay on my hands to work at this pace. I love all of this. Then the next step is where the next craft comes in. So the rest of the sweater body is going to be hung on my flatbed knitting machine. It's the Silver Reed LK150 knitting machine. And so that's going to allow me to knit up the rest of this fabric so much faster. And hopefully I will have this finished sweater to wear this autumn. Absolutely this autumn. Maybe not for Knit City, but this autumn. So this is the perfect blend that I'm thinking of. The hand dyeing, hand knitting, and then machine knitting all coming together in one piece. And so that's what it means to me to be multi-craftual. It's this idea of being able to be efficient with some parts, but also intentional with the parts that really bring you a lot of joy. And for me, knitting that color work by hand is one of the most fun parts of this entire project. I absolutely love it. So this is just the first of many projects that we're going to be working on this fall, where we're going to try to put a real re-emphasis on this multi-craftual making side of things here at Sweet Georgia, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of that journey with you. Everything that we do here is some sort of a combination of hand dyeing, knitting, hand knitting, machine knitting, circular sock machine knitting, some sort of combination of all of these things. And then we get into spinning your own yarn from hand-dyed fiber. We're weaving with some of that yarn. We're crocheting with some of that yarn, maybe weaving tapestry with some of that yarn, just all of the things that you can do from fiber all the way to fabric. So I am really excited to get back to making this season. So I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss anything that comes up in the coming weeks. More than anything, I hope that maybe this might inspire you to look at your own knitting or your own creative practice and remember how important it is to make time to make things. I have been trying to remind myself about that this past couple of months while I've been working on the CSM course, really thinking about taking even a few minutes a day, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to work on a few things that bring me joy. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.